YouTube.
Good evening, students. I'm Sharon Chepngetich, and I'm going to take you through this unit titled Introduction to Poetry. We are going to see on the definition of poetry and significance of poetry. I'm going to start with definition of poetry. Poetry is a form of literary expression that uses aesthetic and rhythmic qualities of language, such as meter, rhyme, and metaphor, to evoke meaning beyond literal interpretation, and it often employs condensed language and imaginative figures of speech to convey emotions, ideas, or experiences. We are going to see on the significance of poetry. Poetry holds significant cultural, emotional, and artistic value. The first one is emotional expression. Poetry allows individuals to express complex emotions in a structured yet deeply personal manner. The second one is cultural reflection. Poems often reflect the cultural values, beliefs, and experiences of a society or community. Third one is artistic form. As literary art form, poetry challenges readers to engage with language in innovative ways, fostering creativity and critical thinking. The fourth one is memory and tradition. Many poems become part of collective cultural memory, preserving stories, histories, and insights across generations. As you have seen the significance of poetry, the first one I've said, it express emotions as it allows individuals to express complex emotions in a structured yet deeply personal manner. The second one was cultural reflection. The third one was artistic form. The fourth one is memory and tradition. Mm, we are going to see on the emotional healing. Uh, Poetry in writing and reading, poetry can be therapeutic, helping individuals process emotions and ex experiences. The sixth one is mental health. Poetry therapy is used in counseling to help individuals express their feelings and gain insight into their emotions. Another significance of poetry is language skills. Studying poetry enhances vocabulary, comprehension, and critical thinking. Uh, The next significance is cultural awareness. Poetry introduces readers to diverse cultures, perspectives, and historical contexts. The next one is political. Poets often address political issues, giving voice to social movements and injustices. The next one is reflection of society. Poetry mirrors societal changes, capturing the zeitgeist of different eras. The next one is self-reflection. Writing poetry encourages self-exploration and self-expression. The last one is creative outlet. Poetry provides a creative outlet allowing for imaginative thinking and artistic expression. Now we are going to see on the differences between poetry and prose. Poetry and prose are distinct in several ways. The first one is structure. Poetry often uses line breaks, stanzas, and rhythmic patterns, while prose is structured into paragraphs and sentences. The second difference is language. Poetry tends to be more condensed and relies heavily on figurative language and imagery, where prose is more the second one is language. Poetry tends to be more condensed and relies heavily on figurative language and imagery, whereas prose is more straightforward and narrative. The third one is purpose. Poetry often emphasizes emotional and aesthetic impact, while prose typically focuses on narrative and exposition. The fourth one is presentation. Poetry is often read aloud to appreciate its rhythmic and auditory qualities, whereas prose is typically read silently. So we can see on the presentation is that poetry is often read aloud to appreciate its rhythmic and auditory qualities, whereas prose is typically read silently. So we have seen on the difference in structure, language, presentation. Next, we are going to see on the role of the poet. And there are several roles. The poet plays several roles in the society and literature. The first role is that of interpreter of emotions. Poets articulate and explore human emotions, offering insights into the human condition. So the first role is interpreter of emotions. The second one is cultural critic. Poets often critique societal norms, political and injustices through metaphor and symbolism. The third one is language innovator. Poets push the boundaries of language, experimenting with form, rhythm, and imagery to create new ways of expression. The fourth one is preserver of tradition. Poets contribute to the preservation of cultural traditions and collective memories through their works. Fifth one is agent of change. Poetry has historically been a catalyst for social change, provoking thought and inspiring actions on important issues. We have seen on the role of poet. The first one, I say, interpreter of emotions. Second one is cultural critic. Third one is language innovator. Fourth one is preserver of tradition. And the fifth one is agent of change. Yeah. Mm. Next, we are going to see topic 2, of which is elements of poetry. Under elements of poetry, we are going to see several elements like line, meter, stanzas, free verse, verse structured form, and sound devices. Form and structure, we are going to see what is form and structure, of which it refers to the overall organization of the poem. Poems can have various forms such as sonnets, haikus, ballads, and etc. Each with specific rules regarding stanza, length, rhyme, scheme, and meter. We're going to see on the stanza. A stanza is a group of lines in a poem, typically separated by a space. Stanzas can vary in length and contribute for the poem's structure and pacing. Underline, a line is a fundamental unit of a poem, often varying in length and contributing to the poem's rhythm and visual appearance on the page. We are going to see on another element, of which it's meter. Meter is the rhythmic structure of a poem created through patterns of stressed and unstressed syllables. Common meters include iambic, pentameter, and trochaic tetrameter. We're going to see on the free verse versus structured forms. Free verse poetry is poetry that does not follow a regular meter or rhyme scheme. It allows poets greater freedom in expression. Under structured forms, these are poems that adhere to specific rules regarding rhyme, meter, and stanza form. Examples include sonnets and haikus. Under sound devices, we are going to see on the rhyme, alliteration, assonance, and consonants. On rhyme, we are going to see on what's rhyme, what's alliteration, assonance, and consonant. Rhyme is the repetition of similar sounds at the end of lines, used to create musicality and emphasize certain words. Alliteration is the repetition of initial consonant sounds in neighboring words or stressed syllables. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds in neighboring words or stressed syllables. And the last one is consonance, of which it is the repetition of consonant sounds in neighboring words or stressed syllables. Next, we are going to see on the figurative language. Figurative language, these are techniques such as metaphor, simile, personification, and imagery that enhance meaning through imaginative language and evoke emotional responses. Each of these elements contributes to the richness and complexity of poetry, allowing poets to convey meaning and emotion in unique and creative ways. This marks the end of discussion. We are going to meet next time. Thank you.